You finally get home. The door closes behind you, the noise of the day is gone. And for a moment, it seems like this should be it. The exhale, the release, the part where you just stop. But you don't stop. You pace around the kitchen for no reason. You pick up your phone before you've even taken off your shoes. You start cleaning something that doesn't need to be cleaned. You sit down and then almost immediately feel the urge to get back up. There's a low hum of something. Not quite anxiety, not quite restlessness, but something that won't let you fully land. And the strange part? You wanted to be home. You were looking forward to this all day. So why does your body feel like it forgot how? Here's what's actually happening. Your nervous system never got the memo that you made it. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not someone who just can't relax. What you are is someone whose body learned, somewhere along the way, that stillness wasn't always safe. And that lesson became wired in so deep that even your own home can feel unfamiliar. That restlessness you feel in a quiet room, it's not a flaw, it's protection. Your brain doing exactly what it was trained to do. And when you understand why, the whole thing starts to make a different kind of sense. The nervous system has one primary job: keep you alive. And to do that job well, it runs a constant background process, scanning, assessing, categorizing. Is this safe? Is something coming? Do I need to be ready? For most people, that process quiets down once they're somewhere familiar and unthreatening. But for some people, people whose early environments were unpredictable or whose lives trained them to always be on, that scanning never fully powers down. It's not that something bad is happening, it's that the system doesn't fully believe that something bad isn't about to happen. Think about what it means to grow up in a home where the emotional weather changed without warning, where a good day could shift quickly, where being attuned to the mood in the room wasn't just nice, it was necessary. Your nervous system learned to stay alert because alertness kept you prepared. Stillness, in that context, wasn't peace. Stillness was the moment before something changed. And the body remembers that long after the circumstances do. So now you're an adult with your own home, your own space, your own life. And the house is quiet and nothing is wrong, and your body still won't fully let go. Because somewhere beneath conscious thought, the old programming is running. Stay ready, stay watchful, stay useful. Stillness feels like a vulnerability it hasn't fully learned to trust. But here's the part nobody tells you. The restlessness isn't random. It has logic, and that logic made complete sense at some point. There's a concept in nervous system science called a window of tolerance, the zone where you feel regulated enough to just be. Inside that window, you can rest, think clearly, feel present. But for some people, that window is narrower than others, not because they're weaker, but because their system calibrated around a different kind of environment, one where the window had to be small, tight, efficient, where you were always either managing something or bracing for the next thing to manage. For people like this, stillness doesn't feel like rest. It feels like an unoccupied space waiting to be filled with something uncomfortable. So the brain fills it with tasks, with noise, with motion, with the phone, with anything that keeps the system engaged and therefore in control. The busyness isn't avoidance, it's regulation. You see this in the person who can't watch a movie without also folding laundry, the one who feels weirdly anxious on vacation, like something must be wrong if they're not doing anything, the one who cleans the house right before collapsing into bed, not because the house needed it, but because the act of doing made the body feel like it was still holding something together. That doing is an anchor. When the internal world feels unsteady, the external activity provides something solid to hold on to. It's predictable, it has steps, it has a beginning and an end. And for a nervous system that grew up in unpredictability, that structure is genuinely calming, even when it looks from the outside like the opposite of rest. This also changes across a lifetime in quiet, interesting ways. In your 20s, the restlessness might look like an inability to sit still, always going, always filling the schedule, thriving on urgency. By your 30s, it might start to feel like exhaustion you can't explain. You're tired, but you can't stop. You want rest, but rest doesn't reach you. By your 40s, some people begin to notice the pattern more clearly, the way that stillness still triggers something low and unnameable, the way solitude has an edge. The behavior doesn't disappear as you get older, it just gets quieter or louder or changes shape, because the nervous system doesn't forget. It adapts, and every adaptation tells you something about what it needed when. There's also something worth sitting with about identity. For a lot of people who can't relax, busyness became more than coping. It became self. The one who handles things, the one who's always moving, the one who gets it done. Rest in that story isn't neutral. It's a kind of identity threat. To stop doing is to briefly stop being the person you've been. So the restlessness has a second layer. It's not just nervous system regulation, it's also self-continuity. The activity keeps the story going. Think of it like this. Restlessness is a familiar room. You know exactly where everything is in there. The furniture is uncomfortable, but you know it. Stillness is a room you visited less. It's quieter, softer, but it's also less known. And the brain will almost always choose familiar discomfort over unfamiliar ease. That's not a character flaw. That's just how safety gets mapped. The people who can't relax at home aren't people who don't want rest. They want it deeply, sometimes desperately. They just have a nervous system that learned vigilance so well that it forgot it was also allowed to rest. That makes you human. That makes you someone who adapted. And that, more than anything else, makes sense.